Hello, good morning, Year 12. I hope everybody had a lovely weekend. And I also hope you had a really nice Easter holiday because this is the first assembly I've had the chance to do since you've returned. Today's assembly, as you know, is a really important one because it's a preparation assembly for your progression exams and it's going to be led in the most part by Mr. Jeffries, who's the exams officer. Before I hand over to Mr. Jeffries, I've just got a few short notices for you. Firstly, a reminder that Friday is Culture Day. A letter went out about that last week, so you should know what the rules are in terms of participation. Firstly, I do encourage as many of you as possible to participate in that because it's going to be a really awesome event, and the head student team, particularly Louisa, but a number of members of the head student team have put a lot of time into that. So if you have any questions, please do speak to Louisa or anyone on the head student team. You can talk to me, but the students have organised it so they have the best idea of what's going on, and please do support that really exciting event. Secondly, a reminder that your work experience is coming up straight after half term. Now, that feels like it's quite a long way away, but actually, there's only 5 school weeks and then half term until that week. And that will just go very quickly. So, if you've not yet secured a placement, please make sure that is your priority. If you have secured a placement, please make sure you've submitted the insurance paperwork that you can get from Mrs. Foster and that you were sent home when we first wrote to your families about work experience. So please make sure that paperwork is included and submitted, otherwise we won't be able to authorise the placement. Right then, I'm going to share my screen and put Mr. Jeffrey's presentation on, and then I'm going to hand straight over to him, and he's going to talk to you a little bit about the exam processes. Mr. Jeffries, over to you.
Right, good morning, everybody. Thank you for allowing me some time to speak to you this morning. We don't have many opportunities to talk to you as a year group, so thank you for being there this morning. Thank you to mentors for giving me your time. If I could just ask the mentors, if you've got students in your mentor groups who aren't there today for whatever reason, if you can try and get their timetables out to them by the end of the week. Any students that you've not managed to catch during the week, if there's any left on Friday, if you can get their timetables back to me, we'll try and make sure that they get them either posted or emailed. So what I want to talk to you about mainly this morning is your Year 12 exams at the end of the summer term. So it's not for a little while yet, but we need to make sure that you are fully prepared and have a briefing before they happen. So you've got plenty of time to plan revision and sort out any anomalies or errors there may be in the timetables. So when we finish this assembly, hopefully you will have a fairly clear idea of three main things: why we do them, where they're going to be and when they're going to happen. So just a reminder, at your stage in Year 12, hopefully by now it's fairly clear to you why we do practice exams. So one main reason, by the end of the summer term, the exams will give the teachers some idea of what progress you've made since September, and it gives them an idea where they may need to target their teaching. From your answers in your exams, they can see areas that may need more work. They are called progression exams because moving into Year 13, how you do in your Year 12 exams may affect what lessons and what subjects that you do when you move into Year 13 in September. Occasionally, this was very important during the COVID years. If you miss exams, or if everybody misses exams due to ill health or national emergencies or conditions, the exam boards may ask for evidence of exams done in exam conditions if they want to ask teachers for evidence for teacher assessed grades. For me, one of the main purposes of the practice exams is that it gives you a chance to experience the real exam conditions that you will be asked to comply with in the summer. in year 13. And as I've said, they may provide evidence if the exam was asked for it, if we're asked to produce centre assessed grades. So when are the exams? Well, the internal exams for you start from the 22nd of June. So your teachers may be setting exams in your lessons, and that could happen from the 22nd of June. The exams that we're talking about mainly today are the formal ones in the formal venues, and they start on the 29th of June and go through to the end of that week on the 3rd of July. Okay, so we're talking about 8 teaching weeks away, and so we've got half term in the middle before that. But in terms of teaching time, there's not an awful lot of time before, so we just need to make sure you've got plenty of time to start getting ready for those. So most of your exams will be in one of the 2 main venues that we have, which is either the sports hall or the gym. Most of you will be doing your exams in the sports hall for the majority of that week, but there is one day on the Wednesday when we need to use the gym because the sports hall is required for something else. If you have access arrangements, or if you had access arrangements in your GCSEs, you know you did your exams in alternative rooms. When we do the exams for year 12 and year 13, the alternative room that we normally use is your T-block study, the silent study area upstairs. And there are 1 or 2 exams that we need a timetable in classrooms because the facilities are required. Things like language exams, IT facilities might be needed. Okay, we will, as normal, as we did with the GCSEs in year 11, we'll be posting seating plans for the exams a bit nearer the time after half term. And it's a good idea to check those seating plans just so you know, first of all, where your exams will take place, and it's also one of our checking mechanisms to make sure that we have seated you where you think you should be. So later this week you'll be getting a rooming timetable which will indicate the main venues for the exams. So you can see we're starting there on the 29th of June, and with A-levels, this is a little bit different when we plan the timetable because none of you do all the same subjects at the same time. So we have to timetable some subjects with each other, and we use the normal curriculum timetable as our starting point. So most of you will probably find that you've got your exams at 1 of the 2 times in the week when you have that subject. Not everybody will find that because there are some subjects where there's several different groups. The bigger subjects, for example, maths and biology, psychology, where there's more than 1 group, you may find that you're not doing the exam at exactly the same time in the week when you normally do it. So what we need you to do when you get the rooming timetable later this week is just make sure, just check it to see if there are any subjects that you've got that clash with each other. You can see on the timetable you've got here that we've got on Monday morning, for example, we've got 4 different subjects, and we think we know that there are 2 students, one who does French and biology, one who does business and biology, for whom they will have a clash that morning. So if you find you've got a clash either on the rooming timetable or on your individual one, then you need to come and see me or Miss Dean in the exams office, and we can sort out how we resolve that for you. Okay, the other thing you should have this morning, if the mentors have been able to pick them up from T-block this morning, you should find you've got an individual timetable. So this will have your name on it in the name details, and it will have the exams that we think that you're doing for that week. So again, we need you to check, first of all, that we've got your details right at the top. This is another part of our checking mechanisms to make sure that when we enter you for the real exams, we've got everything correct as it needs to be, because these are the details that will appear on your certificates. So if you've been with us since year 7, hopefully by now in year 13 we will have got things right, but there are still occasions where we may have got your date of birth wrong, we might have got your name spelled wrong possibly. If you've joined us in year 12 from another school, it is possible that we haven't got the right details when we enrolled you. So if you find that you've got errors in your personal details, do come and see us again in the exams office and we'll try and get that sorted. It's very important to get it sorted this year so that everything's in place when we come to your exams next summer. Okay, so once again, you should find if you do have clashes when you looked on the rooming timetable, you might find that we've already sorted them for you in your individual one. But we need to be sure that that is what you want to do. So if we've, for example, timetabled 2 clashing exams the wrong way around for you, if you want us to do that differently, then you need to come and see us in the exams office to sort it out. You can see this timetable, it looks fairly light because many of you will have options which you may not have more than 2 exams in that week. If you do BTEC Science or Digital Media, you will have real exams in the summer. So some of you will find you've got quite a light timetable. Some of you will find that it's a bit more compacted than this. We've asked your teachers to give you only 1 exam in that week. So you may find you've only got 1 exam if you do most of your subjects. If you do maths, though, you may find that you've got more than 1 exam because the teachers have asked for you to do more than 1 that week. If you do have any queries about your individual timetables when you get them today, then again, come and see Miss Dean or myself in the exams office, or if it's more convenient for you, just email the exams email address that you've got there on the screen. So preparing, first of all, you need to be clear about which exam, which subjects, which topics your teachers are going to include in those exams that you're doing that week. For most of your A-levels, many of the subjects have 3 different exams, so just be sure which paper that you're being set that week. Prepare a revision plan. This is, you've got sort of quite a long time before the exam starts to get yourselves organised and make sure that you're using a revision plan and start revising. If for any reason you don't get your timetable this week, just make sure that you get one by Friday. If you lose it or you need another one, just come and see us in the exams office. There's no judgment involved. Just make sure that you come and get one so you're properly prepared. So a few questions that are easy to answer at this stage. Study leave, you will have study leave during that week. You don't need to come in for lessons unless your teacher specifically asks you to. You just need to be in school for the exams that week. Your normal dress code applies. Hopefully by the time we get to the end of June, beginning of July, the weather may be a bit warmer, so wear whatever clothing which fits the school dress code and the weather indicates. So just a reminder, the exams for most of you will be sports or gym, or maybe in classrooms or T-block study. The only exception to the last little rule there, the only students who should be bringing food of any sort into the exam venue are those of you with medical conditions. And just a reminder that if you bring water with you, it should be in a clear bottle, not one which the invigilators may have uncertainty about what it contains. So there's a few common sense reminders. Make sure you turn up in good time. The last thing we want you to be doing is rushing at the last minute to find your place before the exam starts. Another thing we ask you to do, and again this is partly because we want to make sure that you're used to complying with the exam regulations, the invigilators need to have one of several ways of identifying you. So make sure you're wearing your ID lanyards, which you normally should be doing during the school day. The seating plans that we put up in T block will also be on the venue outside the room where you've got your exam. So just if you're not quite sure where you should be sitting, then check that. You will be sat according to your candidate number, not alphabetically and not by class. So again, that's a little nuance that you need to get used to for the real exams, and that does help to find your seat a little bit more quickly. So it's a good idea to memorize your 4-digit candidate number if you don't know it already. Okay, just a reminder, one of the key rules for the invigilators and the examiners is that you must make sure that you hand your phones in and turn them off, and any sort of smart watches must also be handed in with the phone. Make sure you come properly equipped. The minimum you're going to need is a black pen, but obviously there are some exams where you need more than that. If you're doing maths, psychology, science exams, you are going to need a calculator almost certainly, so make sure you bring what you need for the exam. And obviously once you're in the exam venue, wherever it is, and that applies to classrooms, sixth form study, you need to make sure that you are complying with the no communication, either verbal or non-verbal, once you're in the exam room. Okay, so we are aware, and you are very much aware, that it is a stressful period for you. Your progression exams are important, and you're not going through this alone. So those staff who teach you are obviously the best ones to support you in terms of making sure you're properly prepared with the content. You will have friends in your year group who are going through the same thing, family members who might have been through the same thing. So don't be embarrassed or afraid to consult them. Your mentors are there specifically to support you, and one of their roles is supporting you through exams. Miss Green, Mr Shepherd, Miss Gossel are here in the sixth form to support you. Mrs Hosking, Miss Foster, as they already do, give you an awful lot of guidance and support. Miss Dean in the exams office, and myself, that's what we're there for. And there's a lot of online help. Exam boards websites will have plenty of revision materials and guidance, and there's a huge amount of material on Google Classroom. Okay, you should have had at some stage when you're doing your GCSEs, you will have had the exam board rules. You may get another copy of those before the exam starts, and make sure that when you do get a copy that you look through them. Some of them are more important than others, but it's important that you take the opportunity just to look through those. When the exams are finished, there are 2 weeks left before the end of term, and your teachers will be getting results to you. You'll get a bit more detail about how that's going to happen later in the term. And obviously, good luck. We're there to support you. Make sure that you look at your timetables. While it's in my head, just a reminder, there are some of you in year 12 who will have more than one timetable this morning, because there are some of you who have real exams. So just make sure, if you have exams, for example, BTEC exams or digital media, make sure that you're clear about when they are. And again, if you have any queries about those, do come and see me. Okay, I'm going to hand back to Miss Green now, and I hope you have a good week, and do come and see us if you've got queries.
Hello everybody. Firstly, a huge thank you to Mr Jeffries for sharing all of that very, very useful information. I'm painfully aware that there was a lot of information shared over the last 20 minutes. So as usual, I have recorded this assembly. I'm going to be sending it out to your parents and carers via the weekly newsletter, which goes out on Friday. So if you think your parents or carers would benefit from watching it with you or going through it all with you again, if you missed any of the information, please make sure that they check the newsletter so they can access that recording. And if you have any queries, do speak to Mr. Jeffries in the exams office or email him. I'd like to particularly reinforce the fact that at post 16, in your exams, you have to wear your lanyard. The reason for that is when you're in the main school, obviously you wear your school uniform, so you're easily identifiable as a member of Finham Park School. When you're in the sixth form and you're wearing your own business wear clothes, there is the problem that an invigilator who doesn't know you particularly well, and you know our invigilators are all external, can't be 100% sure that you are the same person as is meant to be sat the exam. And you will have heard in American movies, for example, of people paying other people to sit their exam. Now, I want to be clear that I don't think for 1 second anybody's actually going to do that. I don't think for 1 second any of you would, but the law has changed, I think about 2 years ago, that in order to mitigate that, any students doing exams not in school uniform have to wear a form of ID. So when you get in the exam, you'll be expected to wear your lanyard. If you'd prefer to place it on the desk, you can place it on the desk if it's going to bother you. If you are a sensory overload type person who would struggle with it around your neck, that's fine. But you should expect the invigilators to come around and check your photo against what you look like and your name against the card on the desk. If you are somebody who has sometimes forgotten your lanyard, it's really important that you get in the routine of remembering it every single day, being used to wearing it, so that's not a surprise in the exam. Now, obviously, I've talked to you about all the reasons you need to wear your lanyard, the fact it's a legal requirement, the fact it's a safeguarding issue, but this is another reason just to reinforce, I don't want it to be a shock for anybody, and I don't want anybody to panic on the day. You will be turned away from your exam if you don't have your lanyard. Now, obviously, we will issue you a temporary one in the morning rather than turning you away from the exam, but it will just create added stress. In addition, a reminder, the expectation is that you wear the dress code for your progression exams, even though during the week of the progression exams you won't have to be in school all day. You are expected to wear your business wear when you are in school to maintain our standards, and because there's a whole load of evidence that wearing the clothes you're used to wearing when you're doing your work is the most effective in terms of your outcomes. Right then, that's the bell. I'm going to leave it there. I hope everybody has a really nice week. Good to see you. Bye bye.